The Australian Workers' Union threatened last week to withdraw its support for the carbon tax if a single job was lost as a result. The union is also ramping up a campaign on another front, this time looking at the dumping of overseas products on Australian markets. For more, I'm joined now by our political editor, Lyndall Curtis. Now, Lyndall, Kevin Rudd was tapped on the shoulder or pushed when he started struggling in the polls because of the carbon tax. Can we expect that Julia Gillard is going to survive this?
Well, I think she will, mainly because of the agreement with the independents that was done with her. But it's interesting that there is push now from several quarters on some fronts. One of those is coming from the Workers' Union, which has some questions about the carbon tax. It's also one of three unions convening a meeting on Wednesday on the question of dumping. The National Secretary of the Workers' Union is Paul Howes, and he joins me now. Mr Howes, welcome to News 24.
Thanks, Lyndall.
Why are you concerned about dumping now, and what do you think the government should be doing about it?
Well, over the last 10 years, we've seen a major number of structural changes in the global manufacturing sector, the most significant of which is China has moved from being a net importer of metals to a net exporter of metals. That's placed enormous pressure on the metal industry here in Australia. And over the last 3 years, particularly since the advent of the global financial crisis, we've seen substantive dumping of aluminium products, of glass, of steel, and other associated products into the Australian economy, which has led to a very unfair scenario developing for many of these sectors.
You produced a paper on the question which you'll put to the roundtable meeting on Wednesday. That paper goes through a number of concerns and a number of possible measures. Is one of the concerns that the government isn't taking advantage of the rules already in place to prevent dumping?
Well, that's right. I mean, most developed economies have strong anti-dumping measures in place. Canada, the United States, the European Union all have strong anti-dumping regimes which work quite well. Unfortunately, Australia's anti-dumping regime works in such a way that you can't call the ambulance until you can prove yourself as being dead. And that obviously isn't in the long-term interests of Australia's manufacturing industry. We have a situation at the moment where we have aluminium extruded products being dumped into the Australian economy at a price less than you can buy bauxite, the raw material to make aluminium. We've seen a scenario where an anti-dumping case has been run on aluminium extruded products here in Australia, in Canada, in the United States and in Europe. In all jurisdictions, the government authorities found that yes, dumping was taking place by Chinese state-owned enterprises, but unfortunately the penalties awarded were such that in Canada it was around 38%, in the United States around 68%, in Europe a similar number. But in Australia, the Customs Department only awarded a 4.5% penalty, which really is not even a slap on the wrist. And we've now got the situation where all that dumped product which was going into